we as Indians have to be very careful on who does data belong to. And that is a debate we have a problem with. The LLM models which exist worldwide are far superior than the Indian models. Unfortunately, in India, and I am to blame for that, and Indian IT is to blame, we never develop products. So therefore, we do not have SLMs and LLMs which are world class. So on one side, we have global LLM products, which they are coming to India and training on our Indian data. Should we allow that? Should we not allow that? But on the other side, if we don't allow that, then we have the data, but we don't have the LLM models. So how do we encourage technology companies to develop the LLM model? The amount of investment in technology over the last 20 years has grown on an average worldwide at about 7 or 8% year on year. And if you look at the projection, the amount of investment in technology is going to grow but between 11 and 14% year on year, depending on what industry you want. So on one side, we are automating a lot. On the other side, the investment in technology is going up. So what does it mean? What it means is there is a significant change in skills, exactly the way it happened in the industrial age, that we needed what we call sub-skills. In the AI age, we need what we call the macro skills. What does that mean? That means that having a knowledge of something or being able to do a sub-skill is passé, it is not needed. To be able to reimagine, or I call them reimagineer, to problem solve and to imagine a solution of a problem which nobody else has been able to solve is the new skill which is required. Third point. Because there is significant profit-driven, subscription-driven vocabulary which is in the market, everybody is assuming that AI is technology. It is not. There are a lot of companies which are worth billions and trillions of dollars just because of a technology, and they're making us believe that AI is technology. It is not. AI and the real use of AI is a use case of AI. How do you use AI, for which you need different set of skills? Now, therefore, to have AI as a skill or technology being taught in school will help subscription of a lot of companies, and they'll make a lot of money, including my old company. But the issue is that the skill which we need to teach our children today is to reimagine, to solve problems, to think of alternate solutions, and to do what humans do best, because the machines will never be able to do it. And therefore, the question is, how do we do it? I think India has an opportunity. First, India has a threat that the amount of people we have in what we call the sub-skill task is very large, including IT industry. And if we are not careful, we will have a lot of unemployable youth and unemployed youth. Therefore, it is a crisis which needs urgent attention. Now, what do? In our schooling system, we need, I was just talking about it, we, for example, in Sampak Foundation started what we call half stories. We tell a half story and tell the children to reimagine the balanced story. So we need to introduce curriculum which is imaginative. We don't need to teach knowledge of algebra and fraction. Yes, we need to teach that, but we need to come up with imaginative curriculum which increases what we call the jugaad thinking, so that people start imagining new solutions in the education institution. Therefore, the new curriculum on AI is not teaching AI technology, but is teaching them different problem-solving skills. From an employment point of view, I think it is very important for us to understand that Indian companies, including Indian IT companies, are going to be profit-driven. And therefore, if you believe that they are going to create employment, you must be dreaming. So therefore, the question is, how do we create employment in this environment? And that employment comes from mass-scale startups, which is what this government is already doing. So how do we create new sets of people who are trying to solve new sets of problems, not new sets of technology? And if we do that, we will get it right. And the last point, what she talked about, I think we as Indians have to be very careful on who does data belong to. And that is a debate we have a problem with. The LLM models which exist worldwide are far superior than the Indian models. Unfortunately, in India, and I am to blame for that, and Indian IT is to blame, we never develop products. So therefore, we do not have SLMs and LLMs which are world class. So on one side, we have global LLM products, which they are coming to India and training on our Indian data. Should we allow that? Should we not allow that? But on the other side, if we don't allow that, then we have the data, but we don't have the LLM models. So how do we encourage technology companies to develop the LLM models? And therefore, this needs radical strategic thinking and a very important aspect. Otherwise, we will either give up our data, and I must remind you, I come from a time when the computer industry came in and Microsoft DOS operating system was thrown free in this country, and HCL had an operating system, Infosys had an operating system, TCS had an operating system, all of us had an operating system, but Microsoft came in and the DOS was pirated and everybody had a PC with a pirated DOS. What happened? All three operating systems, these three companies were killed. And therefore, over a period of time, DOS became the operating system, and then they started charging billions and billions of dollars, and the country lost the capability of developing operating system. So I think it's a very critical aspect for us to think about. Who does this data belong? What is the kind of incentives we are going to give to develop LLM technologies or SLM technologies fast so that we train on our data? Otherwise, an LLM will come in with our data and we'll immediately see return and we'll celebrate and we will do all these kind of press releases. But India will lose a competitive advantage on something which is very critical for the next decade.